You want to know how I made this dress? Keep on washing. Hi everyone, come with me. Let's learn how I made this beautiful dress you're seeing on this screen. With the length of my gown, the length is 32. I added 1 inch for sewing allowance, and I also input the measurement again with my ruler. I ruled it this way. So the next thing I did was the shoulder measurement, which is divided by 2. The shoulder measurement was 17 and a half, divided by 2 plus half inch for the sewing allowance, and I came down 9 inches like this for the armhole curve. And next I ruled the line with my ruler this way, and the same shoulder measurement I input it here too, so I can be able to draw a line for my armhole. So the next thing I did was the neck measurement, which is 4 inches width and 3.5 inches depth. So after that, I'm trying to get a correct measurement for this neck. Like I said, 4 inches by 3.5 inches for the neck depth and width. So the next thing I did was to use my curved ruler to curve the neck like this. So after that, I measured my 1 inch on the shoulder because our shoulder is not slant, is not straight, sorry, it's slant. So I connected it to my neckline, neck width. So from there, I'm going to get my middle from the 1 inch I've marked before. When I get the middle, I will come in like half inch or 3/4. It depends on your choice. So with my curved ruler, I curved it properly like this. So the next thing I did was to get my bust length measurement. So the bust length measurement is 11 and a half, which we added half inch. That gave us 12 inches. And my waist measurement is 17 and a half, which we added half inch. That gave us 18 inches. And from the waist, we are going to mark our hip length 9 inches. So the next thing I have to do is to input the measurement, the round measurement for the bust. So the bust is 48 divided by 4. You divide by with your tape and not calculator. So divided by 4, I added my sewing allowance 1 inch and the using allowance 1 inch, sewing allowance 1.5 inch. So coming to the waist now, the waist is 38, and then I divided it by 2, sorry, divided it by 4. So after the division, what I got, I marked it. I added 1 inch ease and 1.5 inch for sewing allowance. So on the hip is also divided by 4 with your tape, divided by 4. So after that, I have to mark what I have as the result on the hip line. Marked it and added 1 inch for ease and 1.5 inch for sewing allowance. With my ruler now, I will connect the line to the bust length, from armhole to the bust length, from bust length to the waist, and from waist to the hip. And I'll make sure that the line is well placed properly. And the next thing I have to do is to come up like 2 inches or 1.5 inches from down. Then from there, I'll curve the line This is necessary because if you don't do this, your dress will just be pointing towards each other by the side. So it's very, very necessary. So this is my the pattern of this front dress, which we have finished, and we're going to use our my scissors to cut it out. So I'm done cutting the dress here. This is the front pattern of the dress. With this pattern, I will use it to cut the back pattern of this dress. The only difference here will be the sewing allowance for the zip, which will be 1.5 inch. 1.5 inch from the front, you add it 1.5 inch like this, and I'm going to add it as well. Add it there and add it there. So with my ruler, I'll be able to rule the line properly like this. So from here we are marking the neckline for the back. The neckline is 1.5, and I connected it to the neckline of the front, that is 4 inches width, and I'll cut it. So this is the fabric, and I'm going to cut the back, which is the sewing allowance of the zip, making sure you are not cutting off the 1.5 inch there already. So this is the back body of the dress. The back body of the dress, I just cut the neckline for the front now because I left it to guide me in cutting the back neckline of the dress. So now I'm going to use this bias. I've cut the lining as well because I'm going to use lining to sew this dress. I will use this bias to decorate it as like Senegalese dress. I'm going to use it on the neck. I'm going to use it on the down part of the dress, and I'm going to use it on the sleeve. So this is how I added the bias. I forgot to show how I started from the beginning. So when I remembered, I have to show. Maybe just this will give you a guide of how I sewed this on this dress. I just gave gap of half inches, and I placed my bias and made this beautiful design. You can as well use this as Senegalese with different design. I am telling you, you are good to go. So this is how I sew this on this dress. And after that, like I said, I placed my bias, and with my sewing machine, I sewed it on the dress like this. Can you see? What matters here is your finishing. When you are sewing very well and your finishing is okay, forget it. Customer will come. Yes, but when you're sewing what you don't know, that is when people will run away from you. So let's try to sew neat dresses and let the finishing be very, very beautiful. You see, the thing is already given. Looking at the design, my dear, even me doing the work, it shocked me. Oh, I'm telling you. So now I'm done with the design. I'm going to use my lining to line it up. I'm starting from the neck. Remember, I left half inch for the neck before I start um, inputting the design there. So that half inch is what I am sewing on now, like this, making sure I get the proper place, and I'm sewing the proper place. Sometimes you can use your chalk to shock it so that you can make mistake. And I'm done. I'm sewing it. This neckline, after sewing it, you will use your scissors to notch it. It helps in flexibility. Using your scissors to notch the neck, it helps in flexibility. So after the notching, what we need to do is to top stitch it. When you don't notch and top stitch, it won't be flexible. Yes, it will just be, I don't know how to explain it, just be a BT like that, but when you notch it and open it up, top stitch, you see how beautiful and fine it is, and the flexibility will be there. So I'm done with the stitching or stop stitching. I'm sorry the way I'm cutting my thread. I didn't take notes of it. Maybe next time I'll be using my scissors to cut it. And I'm closing the dress. I'm closing the dress, the side of the dress like this. Can you see? So after that, I'll go on to close the other side of the dress. Yes, with half inch. Close the other side of the dress with half inch. Remember that sewing knit dress is very, very important to attract customer to you. Can you see how beautiful this design is? This is the front dress. In part 2, I'm going to show you how we sew the back of the dress. The back of the dress. I think not even in part 2. I think it's here already. Ah, this dress is beautiful. Very, very beautiful. This is the back of the dress. I've already lined it, sewing the two sides, and then notching the neck, sewing it, top stitching. This is the two sides of the back dress. So the next I have to place it like this, sew this side like this, and the other side like this, and I'll join the neck, join the shoulder to the neck, and I'll come back and show you. This is how beautiful this thing is. Can you see? Very beautiful and neat work. When I'm looking at this design, it's just giving me joy. Yeah, this work is patient. You need patience to do this kind of thing. You see, so I've coupled the sleeve, coupled the back with the front, and this is the outcome. If you're here for the first time, kindly subscribe to my channel so that whenever I drop a new video, you'll be notified. I'll also show you how I made this sleeve in my next video. Stay tuned. This cloth is given, this dress is given, and for the skirt part of it, it's coming